We are Rogue Media Sports.
Did you see Cole Palmer? Chelsea are balling. People, Chelsea are balling. And Manchester United, what happened? This was meant to be your game. This was meant to be your game. And Arsenal, why did you make it so stressful? Why did you make it so stressful? Yo, this is Mind on Football Fans Podcast. Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome to Mind on Football Fans Podcast, your go-to home for all things Premier League football. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode 7, Match Week 6, where we break down all things Match Week 6 and we analyze all the good stuff that happened in Match Week 6. I'm so glad you guys could join us. I hope you all had an amazing weekend. I certainly did. You all know. So let's get right straight into it. But before we do that, I have to start by saying thank you guys so much for all your support. Thank you for all the love and the appreciation you guys have been showing to us. Thank you for how we keep growing and improving. It's because of you all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And don't forget to please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If this is your first time on the channel, first time watching the show, please hit that subscribe button and then hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when we drop new episodes for you all. And don't forget, this isn't the only place you can find us. Please listen to Mind of Football Fans wherever you get your podcast, but pretty much on every podcast platform out there. So please check us out. Don't forget to follow our socials. We thank you. We love you guys so much and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. You know, that's where we have to start because without you guys, this isn't really possible. So we have to start there. But let's get right into it. Match week 6. Yes, we're 6 match weeks into the season. There weren't really many headline games, actually. There was just one headline game. So we'll actually start with the game of the match week. Actually, no, it's more like beating of the match week, rather. So let's jump right into it. Manchester United nil, Spurs 3. This was meant to be the game of the match week, to be honest. But it did not end up that way. It's like anytime United are in the game of the match week, they end up producing the opposite of what we really expect. You know what I mean? This was a beating. The result doesn't tell the full story. Let me be frank with you. The result doesn't tell the full story. United, this was meant to be their game. Like, they are playing against Spurs that were shaky. You know, first was their Carabao Cup shaky win, and then obviously they won in Europa, and then they were without Heung-min Son, and then Spurs, we all know Spurs play with a really high line. And we know Manchester United, they love playing counter-attack, balls over the top. Marcus Rashford chased it. This was meant to be their game. But 3 minutes into the game, obviously, Brennan Johnson, who is in incredible form. I have to stop and just say, Brennan Johnson, amazing. Pretty much the form of his life. Scoring in the Carabao Cup, and then I think he scored in their last Premier League game, and then scored in their Europa League game, and now scoring in this game, a form of his life, Brennan Johnson. And obviously, we all know what happened to him since he deactivated his Instagram. He has just been scoring for fun. So big ups to Brennan Johnson. But then 3 minutes into the game, back to the game, 3 minutes into the game, Brennan Johnson then kicks this deep absolute battering of Manchester United. And then after that, United kept going. Then we got to the, maybe I'll say 40-minute mark. United started showing signs of improvement, you know, playing those balls, you know. Garnacho had this chance where he kind of hit the post. I'm pretty sure if he had scored that, the game would have probably changed. But it is what it is, ifs, maybe, buts, you know. And then the red card happened. Bruno red card. I'll pause here for a bit. I sympathize with Bruno to a degree. I'm looking at it from both sides. I sympathize with Bruno. First off, that challenge was so minimal. Like, when I mean smallest of touches. Yes, his studs were up. We're talking all the way to Madsen's ankle. No, my bad. Madsen's shin. That's where his knee. That's where his cleats were. That's where the studs were, all the way to Madison's shin. But then the contact was so minimal. Like I mean so minimal. So from that point of view, that is a yellow card all day long. Yellow card all day long. So I sympathize with Bruno from that point of view. But then when you look at the referee's point of view, all he's saying is studs up. So you cannot blame him for giving the red. Obviously, as I said, it's straight yellow. VAR meant to kind of intervene because VAR is saying it. Like VAR is saying how minimal the contact is, how Bruno was sleeping at first. So VAR should have 100% coming. But then they just agreed with the on-field decision. And you can't really blame the on-field referee for his call because what he's saying is Bruno starts all the way to Martin Shin, which is a straight red. So from Bruno's point, I see yes, it cannot be a red. Cannot be a red. But from the referee's point of view, without VAR interfering, I can see why that's the red card. But United, bad to us, 1-0 down, then a red card just on the stroke of halftime. And then second half starts, Kulusevski. What a goal. Okay, I don't say what a goal, but it was kind of, that took some really good skill. Because obviously it was a deflected cross, and to just maneuver his leg that he places the ball past Onana. Onana is rushing out and he just maneuvers his leg to touch the ball, that it goes beyond Onana. I think that takes incredible skill. And then so that game was going United pretty much. It was already hard for United to come back with 10 men on the field, and then to have with 11 men on the field, and then to have 10 men coming back from 2-0 down. Yeah, game was set, match and done already. And obviously Solanke putting the nail on the coffin. Classic strikers finish, pushing the ball in. This is what it is. But as I said, this was United's game. United could have easily won this game, especially with the fact that Spurs weren't really winning. Like, let's be frank, Spurs weren't really in the best form of their lives. And United love playing teams with high line. Like, that is United's game plan. That is what United are good at. The ball over the top. And they fell short. Simple as it is, they really fell short. It was an absolute bemismal of a performance. And obviously, after the game, or during the commentary during the game, you hear Gary Neville battering his former team. You hear all the pundits saying how disappointed they were in United, how terrible of a performance. You hear Ten Hag saying all Ten Hag says. He says pretty much the same thing every time. Bruno with an honest assessment of the whole red card situation. And I think what's the Ericsson's talk about how they didn't want it. Like first it was the performance against in their Europa League game where they were meant to win at Old Trafford and they ended up drawing, and he came out and said they didn't want it. And then they came out again and he came out again today and said they didn't want it. There's a pattern here for me about how the other team wants it more than United. That is kind of scary. How does a team come to Old Trafford and wants it more than you? That is abysmal. It is what it is. United fans, again, do not be worried. I think everything will go to plan. Is already 3 losses this season to Brighton, to Liverpool, and now to Spurs. It's a long season ahead, but we have seen it with Chelsea. Your season can be changed. You can end up finishing. Max, you can finish at this point is probably sixth, but that is still a good place to finish. For a struggling United team, that's still a good place to finish. Game of the week turned out to be beating of the week. Kind of disappointed. I kind of expected drama from both sides, but it is what it is. It is what it is. United fans, do not be worried. Big ups to Spurs. Big ups to Brandon Johnson, especially just because he's in the form of his life. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next game of the match week. Newcastle 1, Manchester City 1. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so after last week, City obviously dominated the headlines, saying Arsenal dark arts, Arsenal this. Arsenal didn't come to win. Arsenal came to play to get a draw. Arsenal this, Arsenal whatever, dominating the headlines with all sort of you know results, all sort of news about Arsenal. Really, not really about themselves, more about Arsenal. Obviously, and then the fact that Rodri might have torn his ACL or ruptured his something in his knee though, something about his ACL, whatever it is. So that's kind of what the headline was with Manchester City, and then coming. They then go to St James Park. Obviously, it's not an easy place to play in. But City had everything. Well, actually, no, City didn't really have anything. Newcastle came out and were like, okay, we're not going to allow you to do what you used to do. Have possession of the ball, dominate. No, no, no. We're not doing that here. No, no, no. We're not doing that here. And obviously, Guardiola, we kind of know him now to be scoring crazy as goals. And that's kind of what he did. His goal was just crazy. Um, and we thought the game was kind of done. We thought, okay, now they have scored one, maybe City will go up. And Newcastle were like, no, 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 we're not going to allow that. And they just went and kept pushing and probing and until finally they played that true ball and Anthony Gordon kind of went past, Ederson, and Ederson fouled him and Ederson was complaining and doing all his spectacles and saying I didn't touch him, but he did touch him. Um, and Gordon equalized. And City ended up not being able to do what City usually does through the game. Couldn't find the net, couldn't probe. Haaland had one of two chances here and there, nothing too serious. Um, and City dropped points. And as an Arsenal fan, I love it. I love when City drop points. It makes me happy. So the draw against Arsenal, then the draw to Inter. No, it was the draw to Inter Milan, then the draw against Arsenal, and then the draw to Newcastle. Um, Obviously that's City's last three results out of their last four games. So credit to Newcastle for not allowing City come in and do tiki taka, play tiki taka football and try and dominate the game. Big ups to Newcastle. Obviously, this is an opportunity for Arsenal. And speaking of Arsenal, moving on to the next game on match week, Arsenal for Leicester 2. Arsenal just had to make it so hard. They had to make it so hard. Why did they have to make it so hard? Arsenal were cruising 2-0 at halftime. Martinelli obviously scoring first goal in what 28, 18 or 20 games, one of them too. Um, Big ups to him. He was absolutely amazing. He scored the first goal, and then 20 minutes later, he set up Trossard for the second goal with a beautiful assist. And Arsenal were cruising, and everyone thought, okay, easy game for Arsenal. I thought easy game for Arsenal, but I stand corrected. Arsenal decided to make it abysmally difficult. I don't think that's a word, but we'll use it. They decided to make it stupidly difficult. And then obviously just James Justin with a fantastic goal. Well, actually, before his second goal, his first goal from the set piece, um, heading it obviously deflected off Kai Havertz, and then his second goal, what a volley! That's probably goal of. I'm sorry, okay, no, I stand corrected. One of the goals of the match week. That was a beauty of a goal right there. Ooh, half caught it. Well, not half catching it with the front of his lace. Oh my, what a goal! Big ups to James Johnston for that goal. Um, and it was 2-2. And the whole Emirates silent. Me watching from the comfort of my bed became nervous. I was shaking. I was like, oh my God, is Arsenal going to drop this point? And then obviously, Arsenal doing what Arsenal does, kept probing and kept, searching for it. And Arsenal doing Arsenal thing, set piece. You know, I think Arsenal had like 11, 12 set pieces. I know last week or so I said if Arsenal have five set pieces, they score one. Well, they had 11 set pieces and they scored one from it. Whether you want to call it a Trossard goal or an Indidion goal, whatever you want to call it, that's what happened. Arsenal scoring off the set pieces. Oh, sorry, Arsenal scoring off the set piece. That's what Arsenal does. That's kind of their secret weapon now. You know it's coming. You know You can do all your markings and whatever, but I'm sorry, but you can't stop it. Like it's a given. It's coming and you can't stop it. Um, so it was, you know, 3-2. The game was pretty much set and done. But then Havertz just, you know, put the nail in the coffin. I want to shout out Leicester because they did. It was a beautiful game of football in the second half. Um, they were like, what? Okay, they were like first half, you guys do all you need to do. But second half, they pretty much created something out of nothing twice, something out of nothing twice. So big ups to Leicester for at least putting a fight in. Um, it wasn't just their day. Arsenal had to work for it, and it is what it is. On the day where City dropped points, Arsenal needed to win, and now back in it. It's this is what Arsenal need to keep doing, making sure that when City drop points, they are there to pounce, not doing like last year where obviously we all know what happened. Liverpool dropped points, City dropped points, and instead of Arsenal to capitalize, they went and lost to Villa. So big ups to Arsenal, credit to Leicester for the efforts, but so just not their day. Moving on to next game, Wolves 1, Liverpool 2. Some might say this was a really terrible performance from Liverpool, or rather, lackluster performance from Liverpool. I will agree to some degree. Liverpool didn't look like themselves. The front three didn't really look too, I don't know if it's because of all the midweek games and all the travel, whatever it is. Um, Liverpool didn't just look like Liverpool. Obviously, it had to come in they didn't really create. There were a few chances here and there, and obviously big ups to Sam Johnston for saving his team and making some really crazy ass saves. But Liverpool didn't just look like the dominance. Like they had the ball, yes, but in terms of in front of goal, they were just not their usual selves. And so I agree to that certain degree that yeah, Liverpool were kind of lackluster a bit. But obviously, Konate scoring his first goal, a header, clean up from a set piece. I think that was really good for him. His first Premier League goal. So big ups to Konate. And then obviously he and Allison had a miscommunication and kind of botched it, for lack of a better word, just botched it and gave Wolves, and credit to Wolves though. Wolves were giving it a go. They were like, they were giving it a proper go. Um, and they ended up, getting the equalizer through Nori. As I said, Liverpool botched it, and it was a scrape here and there, and they got the goal. They got the equalizer, and less than 2 minutes later, they are conceding a penalty. How stupid! How Nelson Semedo has all over Jota on penalty. Like, what do you expect? Like, that is 100% a penalty. What do you expect? So stupid of Wolves. And obviously Wolves, they kept probing, but they never really, hit the nail on the head. You get what I mean? Like they were just having possession around long range shots. Nothing too serious that Allison was like, oh my god, I'm scared for my life, know what I mean? But and I think that's a trend around the league. Like it's not just Wolves. Like when the big teams are playing this, when the small teams are playing the big teams in the league, you know what I mean. No disrespect to the small teams, but like, yeah, you all are small. So let's call it what it is. When they are playing the big teams, they kind of tend to just sit back and play back and just allow and then trying to play counter-attacking football. But give it a proper goal. Give it a good goal. Um, Try to create something out of nothing, and maybe if they had done that, if they are taking more risks, if they are taking just a added maybe from like a 40% to like a 60%, they could have gotten that equalizer. And this would have been a completely different story. But that wasn't the case, and Liverpool sitting comfortably on the top of the league now. Not comfortably, but just 1 point ahead of Arsenal and City. Um, and it's kind of looking to be like a three-horse race again, even though I see Liverpool falling off way earlier than many people think. But yeah, big ups to Liverpool, big ups to Salah scoring the pen. captain of my FPL. So big ups to him. Big ups to Liverpool, top of the league. Moving on to the next game, Chelsea 4, Brighton 2. Cole Palmer. This was a game of the first half of all the goals coming in the first half. Amazing game of football. First half, if you watch this game, first half, amazing. Cole Palmer, I'm running out of words to describe how brilliant this dude is. This dude is insanely brilliant. Um, I think if he was still at City, he would have been a difference maker for them, especially now that Rodri is out and De Bruyne is out. And this is not a dig at Foden or trying to compare him or Foden. I just feel like he brings something different. Quick story: I was talking to my dad yesterday, and he's a big Chelsea fan, and he was going on in on how good Cole Palmer is, Cole Palmer this, Cole Palmer that, and I was like, okay, I didn't really know what to say. He's a Chelsea fan, so obviously you big us Cole Palmer, but I kind of have to agree. Cole Palmer, I don't want to go as far as say he's the best player in the league right now. No, no, no. I think he's the most entertaining player in the league. I think he's fun to watch. When we think of players that are really fun to watch, Haaland is probably, or Mo Salah is probably the best player in the league. Haaland or Mo Salah or De Bruyne, whoever, they're probably the best player in the league. But like when it comes to entertainment value and watching and just watching them play, I think he's probably the top up there. Just amazing. And then he has a wonder of a left foot. Like, did you see that penalty? Sorry, the free kick goal for his hat trick? It was a 10-minute hat trick. 10-minute hat trick. That free kick, pick of a bunch. That was just phenomenal. That free kick was phenomenal. And I think Chelsea is as a team is wherever Cole Palmer takes them. And last season, that was pretty much what it was. Wherever Cole Palmer took them, that was where they went to. This season, the same thing. Wherever Cole Palmer takes them, that's kind of where they will go to. Again, most of the goals were mistakes. Chelsea and their goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez, giving up two silly goals. The same thing with Brighton, giving up, I think, two of the four goals that Palmer scored were just stupid mistakes that Chelsea pounced on. Big ups to Jordan Sancho with three assists in his three starts for Chelsea, in his 3 games for Chelsea. Big ups to him. And yeah, I think this is just upward momentum. Chelsea are balling. Um, Amazing by Chelsea. I think, as I said, wherever Palmer takes them, that's where Chelsea will go. I still think Chelsea will finish between fifth, sixth, maybe fifth, sixth. I can't remember what I predicted for them, but I think that's where Chelsea will go. So Cole Palmer, I think he's the player of the week, pretty much more or less. 4 goals, 10 minutes hat trick. You can't really say anything too bad about it. But moving on to Everton 2, Palace 1. I'm scared for Palace. Oh my god. My predictions, I predicted Palace to be the overachievers of the season, and it's looking like it's not going to happen. Obviously, we're just 6 weeks in. I'm like, let's take a chill pill. But so far, 6 games in, Palace have looked abysmal. They have looked terrible, 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 terrible. Everton, credit to Everton, their first win of the season. Dwight McNeil, amazing. He too has a wonder with left foot. Those his goals were crazy yesterday. Like the goals, whew, classic Dwight McNeil type of goals, both with the left foot. He has a wonder of a left foot too. Crystal Palace, obviously they did lose Michael Olise, but you think it shouldn't really affect them that much. But it kind of looks like it's taking a toll on them. I don't know. Some things have to change. I'm not saying they should go and sack Oliver Glasner. I don't think that's the solution. But something needs to change. Something isn't just working. Like they can't score the goals. I just don't know why the goals aren't coming yet. But big ups to Everton. Actually, I'm very happy for Everton. I think it's amazing what they did. So big ups to Dwight McNeil. Big ups to Dwight McNeil. Moving on, Ipswich to Aston Villa to shout out to my underappreciated player of the week, underperformer of the week, or rather, yeah, my underappreciated. That's more likely word for it, underappreciated player of the week. The lab, the lab. Obviously, Ipswich getting him from City. Um, Liam Delap, yes, getting him from City. it's sometimes when you get these young strikers from, they are coming from a big team, um, you it's kind of hit or miss. But I think for Ipswich, this is definitely a hit. Um, his first goal, pretty good. His second goal, amazing. Wow. The way he just did the defender and sold the defender and then placed it with his left foot, bottom corner. Wow, what a finish. The way he even, from his moment to the goal where he started off wide and then Omari Hutchinson played him the ball and then he went and kind of drove and then took the defender one way and then took him another way and then kind of just placed, oh, what a goal. Amazing goal. Amazing goal by Liam Delap on my appreciated player of the week. Obviously, Aston Villa, maybe it's because maybe it's, I don't know what to say for Aston Villa, but Morgan Rogers on the score sheet. I'm telling you guys, I told you guys last time, Morgan Rogers is a baller. You guys are just saying it now. Him being on the score sheet, Oli Watkins again on the score sheet. Big ups to Ipswich, big ups to Villa. I think it's a fair result of how the game went. If you watch the game, I think that was a fair result of how the game went. And to Ipswich, 4 draws in their last 4 games, 4 points. That's good for them. Getting the win now. They're out of the relegation zone. I think they are 15th now, obviously. Bearing the game today between Southampton and Bournemouth. Whatever that results, things might change in the table for Ipswich. But big ups to Ipswich, big ups to Aston Villa. Let's move on to the next game. Brentford won, West Ham won. Brentford again, third consecutive game scoring in the first minute. I think the first one was 22 seconds, then 21 seconds, then now 38 seconds. Brentford, they know how to score goals. They have Brian Bemo. They have, obviously now Wissa is injured, but they have Carvalho. They have players that can score goals. And then they scored the goal. They scored the one goal, and it's like they are kind of packing the bus more or less. Um, and then West Ham, I predicted West Ham to be the underperformers of the year, the underachievers of the year, and they are kind of looking like it's kind of underperforming with all the new signings, 6 game weeks in, and they are looking, they are literally scraping by. That's what it is. They are literally kind of scraping by, and it's kind of sad to see, but I think it's a fair result for both teams. Looking at the landscape of this, I think it's a fair result for both teams, and this is what it is. Let's move on to the last game of no, not the last game on match week, but the last game that was played before the game today. Because by the time this episode drops, there will still be one more. One more game would have been played between Southampton and Bournemouth. That's a Monday night game, Monday afternoon game here in the States. Um, but last game of the weekend, Forest nil, Fulham 1. I think fair results. Forest were missing Morgan Gibbs White. I think he's an instrumental player for them. I'm not saying the other players couldn't have stepped up, but looking at the landscape of things, I think against the Fulham team, Morgan Gibbs White would have probably been a difference maker. Fulham obviously scoring a penalty. That was a very stupid thing by the defender. Um, I can't remember the defender's name off the top of my head, but Jimenez putting away the penalty. Jimenez is another striker that is in the form of his life right now. He's just amazing. Like he's literally mind blowing. So credit to Fulham, my boys up in there. Smith Rowe, Alex Iwobi, Reece Nelson, my boys up in there getting the win. Big ups to Fulham. But when it comes to us, when you guys come play Arsenal, don't just turn up. Don't, you can turn up in any other game. Please turn up in all other games. When you come play Arsenal, don't turn up. We don't need it there, you know. But yeah, big ups to big ups to my boys up in there. Big ups to Fulham for getting the win. Let's move on to some quick hitters before we leave. Quick hitters. Number one. Last week I shouted out Barcelona, they were unbeaten, quite cruising in the lead, up. It was kind of like a amazing wave. They were riding on this amazing wave. Obviously, they lost in the Champions League match week 1. But in the league, they were kind of, top of the league, cruising. But Real Madrid couldn't catch them. Atletico couldn't catch them. This, that, whatever it was. And I was like, big ups to Barcelona, you know. And then it's like, I don't say I cursed them, but it's like commentators curse, you know. Suffered their first defeat 4-2 against Osasuna. So it's quite disappointing, really, away from home. Just allowed 4 goals. I don't know what it is. And yeah, you can say Barcelona, they have a lot of injuries right now. Let's not sugarcoat it. They do have a lot of injuries right now. But still, they still have a really, really amazing team. Obviously, commentators curse. But Barcelona suffering their first defeat allowed Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid kind of just pounce a little bit, maybe reduce that gap to I think 1 point or so. Because obviously Madrid were winning. Militao, what a goal! What a goal by Militao! I think we're in this age where defenders now are scoring worldies of goalies now, and it's crazy. They're just scoring world goals that are just like it's crazy. So the Madrid derby, Atletico won, Real Madrid won, 90 plus 5. Like it went to that point down to the wire. None of these teams could any a win for any of these teams could have taken them above Barcelona. Obviously, with them suffering their defeat, but it just couldn't happen. Game ended 1-1. So big ups to both teams, and we'll see how the La Liga race goes. I still have Real Madrid winning the league just because it's Madrid and the amount of star power they have. Moving on to another big game up in Germany at this time. Bayern Munich won, Leverkusen won. Obviously, before this, Bayern Munich were absolutely cruising. They were just flying. Like, I mean, you know, and I knew that the one team that could probably challenge them would be Leverkusen, the defending champions of the Bundesliga. And kind of looked that way, obviously. Hendrik scored the first goal for Leverkusen. I looked like Leverkusen were just dominating the game. And then obviously Bayern, with this their never say die attitude that Vincent Company has brought to the team, equalized and the game ended 1-1. So big I think it's a fair result for both teams in the landscape of things. Bayern are still top of the league. Uh, I think with it's still a 3 points gap or 4 point gap. I can't really remember right now. So big ups to both teams. Big ups to both teams. Last quick hitter before we X out of here, before we leave out of here. Champions League match day 2 commences tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Some notable games in that match week. Some notable games in match week 2. The big one, I think, or rather, I would say this might be the big one, but then I think of it. There's another game. It's between Arsenal, PSG, and Bayern, um, Bayern, Aston Villa. Aston Villa are beginning to look like a force to reckon with, and then you have Bayern that are just Bayern are just really really good this season, and then you have PSG, Arsenal at the Emirates. PSG are a really good team, dominating League One up in France. And then Arsenal, we know what Arsenal can do. We know who Arsenal are. So it's be interesting to see those two games. Those are the two games of the. But then you also have Leverkusen in AC Milan. I think that would be a really good game for to watch also. But other than that, those are the only 3 games that are really mouth watering in match week 2. Sorry, match day 2. So go check out if you guys are bored and want something to watch or really love football. Go make sure you guys check out Champions League match day 2. Make sure you watch if you can't watch all the games, out of those 3 games, you guys should watch those 3 games: Villa, Bayern, Arsenal, PSG, and Leverkusen, AC Milan. You guys should check that. I think those games will be mouth-watering. There'll be goals galore everywhere. So Champions League never disappoints. So make sure you guys check those out. Check that out. But yeah, that brings us to the end of match week 6. Um, this was an entertaining match week. Saturday, nothing short of drama. I started with City drawing to Newcastle, and then Arsenal leaving it late, scoring off a set piece to put up Leicester, and then Liverpool. Liverpool doing Liverpool things, winning 2-1. They are now top of the league, 1 point ahead of Arsenal and City. And then Chelsea and Cole Palmer, absolutely balling and just lavishing, running riot against Brighton. And then Sunday, you know, game of the week that some Manchester United play Spurs at Old Trafford ended up being the beating of the week, allowing 3 goals. Mickey van der Ven, I forgot to mention Mickey van der Ven, what an assist. Shout out to Mickey van der Ven, the fastest player in the Premier League. What that was, oh, that was crazy. That was crazy. So that was match week 6. Match week 6 obviously concludes today, where Southampton faces um Bournemouth. Check it out. Make sure you guys check it out. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Thanks so much for sticking with this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget, this is not the only YouTube is not the only place you can find us. Check us out wherever you get your podcast. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Please check us out. We're out there. And don't forget, do not forget, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when we drop new content for you guys. Thank you guys so much. Socials, Instagram, TikTok, Mind Road Football Fans, follow us also out there. Thank you guys so much. I hope you all have an amazing week. I'm David. I'm out. Peace.